So we are talking so much about money. The first question is, what exactly is money? That means, have you thought of it? So, yeah. So, money on a simple term can be said it's a store of value. Store of energy, maybe the value depreciates over time. And it's a lending instrument if there's a geographical boundary called nation. And there's a constitution and the government floats this. So this value is there. So that's the first part of called money. The second part is the most difficult thing. What is architecture? Because most of the time nobody tries to define architecture because it's beyond the scope of defining. Okay. So there is designer and there is build space. Okay. And when someone moves through the space, and if that space interacts with that person, that experiential quality maybe can be termed as architecture. So only then the designer becomes an architect. So all other time you are just normal people, maybe designers, and there is only built in one. Now we are going to talk about a profession which is going to deal one aspect of it because you are qualified as designers. And in college, 5 years of learning, you would have kind of understood the art of designing. And you feel that is good enough to come out and start the gate. And then you come out to a world where the store of value and the holders of it dominates. And suddenly you are reduced from this 100% designer and your entire knowledge base reduces to less than probably 3% or 5% of the entire gamut of profession, right? So these are a set of architects who have been journeying through in Kerala's atmosphere, trying to make a living as designers. And many a time they would have got this spiritual awakening of architect. So each person, I'm going to unveil them from their context, how they started the journey, what was the basic impetus for them to take a decision. Was there a background in the family, or what it was just a nick of the chance, or some aspect of design? What made them take the big decision of getting into this profession? So I'll start from Praveen. We'll finish that round and then we'll get into the complexities of starting a profession and running the show and what money matters into the game. Okay? Over to me. And sit and talk. I just want, because before sitting, I just want to finish.
Okay. My story starts when I was in my 11th, and we called it free degree then, 11th and 12th, when I thought this title, architect, sounded very fancy. And, it's very, very nice. So I used to sign architect training. So I had this thing in mind that I would be an architect. Now getting to being an architect, I had no clue how to do it. And that was the year that we had the entrance exam where we got through. I first joined civil engineering, and then from there I got shifted to TKM College of Engineering. And then this whole idea that I'll be an architect, not an engineer. So this fancy name, the title of being an architect. And that in one sentence, you've all heard of Professor Eugene Pandala, right? He was my professor. We were the 20 students we had in the first batch. And he comes in and he says, after 5 years, you're all going to be glorified carpenters. And there crumbled my world. Oh, is that all that we're going to do? He was just being, talking, maybe a simple joke probably. But then I realized, okay, this is just another profession that I should be doing. 5 years down the line, again, my thoughts were like, oh, as an architect, I'll be earning very well. And then 1991, I graduated in 1990, waited for the results, and then my first stop was Calicut to look for a job. Because I studied, my schooling was done in Calicut, so I had my connections in.
Let's stop at that. No, why I'm saying that is, let the background be though. Then,
I just,
but you have just become an architect.
yeah.
You know, before what it was.
Okay, fine. Both at first.
It's then you buy yours.
Hi. So about myself, I'm basically from a small town known as Talasheri in Kannur. When I recall back, I think 17 years back or 18 years back, or probably I think 20 years back, yeah. So you have this system where, when you're in 9th and 10th and 6th and 7th, you get this slam book. You have to write what you want to become. So at that time, probably it was like, wow, fancy names like aeronautical engineer, computer engineer, so all those things. So which we felt, oh, that was something which at the time I wasn't even aware of architecture, to be frank. So yes, I actually sketch. That's something which, I had this blessing. And the other part was when that computer thing came, the generation where you have in school, there are a lot of computers with the desktop and the monitor and all. There is something what I do is, what I did was, I started using the software known as Paint. I mean, I hope still it's there. And I used to start doing with that mouse. So it was not that easy to get that proportion and get that kind of lie, which I could get it very easily. And I did very well in the district level and the state level back then. So one fine day, I was sitting at my home, and I was in front of my computer, and I do this regularly, and I was actually visualizing my home from the gate, towards my home, how it looks like, which definitely is known as perspective view, okay, which I came to later. So I did the detailing in such a way that the grill, the step, those lines, the interlock, including the neighbors, what time did, So that actually what I did, I took the printout I kept in my, so-called paint booth. So one fine day, one of my mother's uncle visited, and he just saw this. So he's like, you did this? I think you need to be an architect. So at that time I came to know what is known as architecture. I started Googling. Thankfully, I was very bad at mathematics. And I came to know that there is no mathematics in this course, which posed to me, and it made me a lot of interest, where you can have great talent doing a lot of drawings and sketches and other things and all, which made a lot of interest. And I actually wanted to do it definitely in Bangalore and, MES. In Kerala, there was only 3 colleges, MES, TKM and Trivandrum. So it was very difficult to get through that, college. Of course, being from a middle class family, it's very difficult to get it. But somehow, I really want to do it. I made sure, wherever the low fee colleges are, that is trying to research that, I got into the college which is in Bijapur. The day I got to know about this, I spoke about, I spoke to the administrator. I'm like, I'm from Kerala. I need to do this. So he's like, oh wow, there is one person from Kerala, who did the architecture. He's doing really well. I'm like, okay, can you just give his contact? They gave the contact and I called. Hi, my name is Afnan. I really want to do this architecture. I heard about you. And he was architect Vijay Shaitan. So in a funny way, in the way, it took me forward. He gave me a lot of confidence. He's like, it's okay, Baba, you might not see that fancy thing there, ഞാൻ കാളവണ്ടിയിൽ പോയതാണ്. It's kind of very deserted place then. So that's how actually.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. See, I come from a village in Malappuram, which is close to Irapur, called Mumbai. And I was very fortunate that my parents were building house when I was studying in school. So I started looking at different houses, different gates, all those things. I never knew this term architecture. And my school was designed by one of the famous engineer from Kozhikode engineer from Connecticut. And later I came to know it's AK Prasanth. But they never called architect. They called engineer Prasanth. I studied in previous model school. Then until I got the prospectus of entrance exam, I didn't know this term architecture. I saw this term architecture when I saw it in prospectus, and I went and googled it. Then I studied about it, and I went to one of my non-teaching staff, and her daughter was doing architecture. So I went to her and I learned what is architecture. Then I did this entrance exam and got qualified. I joined medical. So, and I was very fortunate that I got that internship with that engineer, AK Prasanth. So that's my story.
So my story of becoming an architect is very simple. That I found while I was filling up my All India entrance exam, Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Architecture. So I picked architecture that I didn't know that I had to pay an extra DD of 750 rupees. And I was roaming around the city that how could I get an extra DD of 750 rupees, because I wasn't aware that how to get a DD itself. I never had a bank account. So till 12, I've been figuring out a way that how I can crack to become a software engineer, because I was too much crazed about how computers works in, even though I never had a laptop to work at. So then what happened is the first time when I planned to become an architect, I wrote my along with my engineering entrance exam, I wrote architecture exam as well. Not NATA, but All India exam. That until then I wasn't aware that there is an exam called NATA. So after that, what happened was like I figured out cracking BTech itself is quite not easy. Then I went back, I repeated myself to become an architect. I studied NATA again. So I was again planning to become an architect, since I found out, okay, architecture is the best thing. As Afnan said, I was very bad at maths, and Kerala State Syllabus said that if you don't have 50% in your maths, you can't attend Kerala entrance exam. So they rejected my application for becoming a Bachelor of Engineering, and literally they told me you can attend for NATA, even if you don't have 50% in maths. So that's how bad it was. And I'm sitting here talking about money right now. So obviously that's a quite funny part, looking at the people that I have only a practice of 5 years, and I see many of them sitting along with me, has been handling their practice over a decade. So I myself, I feel like a bit of a misfit in this panel for sure. So again, what happened is when I went to write my NETA exam at MES College, Kuchipuram, that was the closest college which was closest from my city, though I am from Calicut. So when I went there, I saw the entire lifestyle of being an architecture student. I see a lot of NRI students studying there that I was completely under an impression that architecture is going to be an ethic platform and people are running, jumping over, and I saw there is this passion inside architecture as well. So the moment I went to write my exam, I said, Dad, I'm going to study here only, because of the lifestyle what they had. So after that, what happens when I got my NATA in, there was this person, my dad's friend told, my son is an architect and he's been studying in Mysore in University School of Design, considered as one of the most prominent colleges in my time, at least. Right now it's converted into SPA Mysore. So why don't you speak to him? Because he was my neighbor. So that neighbor is architect Fahim Musa. So I went there, I spoke to him, my dad was there. And my dad was quite afraid to send me off from Kerala because he thought it's more about drugs, girls, and all this thing would be there for obvious reasons. So he figured out finally, I convinced him that there is a lot more opportunities if we go outside and study, especially from a background which I'm coming from. I'm coming from a very conservative Muslim background. So I thought, okay, let it be, go ahead. So that's how I got into Mysore, and that's how I became an architect. Yeah. So
Hi, I'm Kannur. So basically, I joined college in 1987. So at that time, when I joined the college, and even after 3-4 years, I think only 1 or 2 guys in the college, in the class knew about architecture. So for us, it was a blind ride for a long years. Yeah.
What made you take the decision?
Nothing. Just entrance. Yeah, entrance. You know nothing about me. You know nothing about architecture. We got into architecture class, and probably only one guy. His uncle was Thomas Panikar. So he knew a little bit of architecture. None of us knew much about architecture. And our college started only a couple of years, 2-3 years. I mean, we didn't have much exposure. So basically, we had a blind ride for 3-4 years. Then finally, we started going to libraries and stuff, and then that's what we started to get that bug. And I also realized unless we learn something, when you get out of the college, there's school. So that is how we got into the serious architecture, and from that, what year?
So why you ask this question is because every practice basically depends upon that quality of that individual, the character of that individual. So every practice usually have that being personified into the practice. So it is the central character of that individual which kind of defines the practice. So all these people would have had various experiences, and at some part of life they would have decided, okay, it's time for me to practice. And the biggest challenge is the other side of the practice. The professional practice, of course, is there, but that is not going to give you anything other than a lot of theory, fantastic theories, basically. The fee structure, you are given the gospel that this is how the fee is to be charged. And if that fee is not being charged, you will be kind of disqualified, all those things. And the biggest shock would be when you come out, the very government which talks about the council and the minimum scale of fees is not bothered on giving that particular scale of fees. So you come into a very chaotic world, and each would have had a different experience of practice. Now we come into the topic directly. How do you handle your practice from your character and facing the society and being a professional? And how do you make your ends meet? And what you define yourself as success? Or do you define yourself as a successful person, as an architect or whatever, the designer? Not from a third person's point of view, but from your character, from your point of contentment. Are you okay with handling money and the client and all the paraphernalia which comes in either way? So,
before I go into Moto, I just mentioned one point. I stopped with where you saw me when I was going to my first job. Before I started my practice, I worked with an architect. Now, I went in this for the interview with AK Ramesh, Jose Ramesh Babu, JNT Buildings, Calicut. And he straight away said, yeah, you can start tomorrow. So I said, my first question was obviously what is the salary? He said 2,500 rupees. Do you remember this in 1991? 2,500 rupees was some princely sum. And then a good friend of mine called me and said, hey, I'm working with a wonderful firm it's on Beach Road. You come down and just check the office. So I went there. Tony Joseph, Stabili Architects. He had this beautiful office on Beach Road. And he offered me 650 rupees. He said, that's all I can give you. Would you like to join? I said, I join. So I gave up 2,500 starting with 650 rupees. I worked there for a year, but then I knew I couldn't make my ends meet. So that's when I shifted. Went to Dubai for a few years and then came back and then started my practice. But having started, I started with, I joined a firm that was already practicing engineering. I wouldn't say architecture. A group of 5 civil engineers, and I was the only architect. So they would get me to design, and I would just give the design. They would do the construction part. So that is how I made my first money as such. And then I think I went in. That was for nearly 2 years. I did that when that was the time when I got married also. So I needed that money also. And then I put up my own office. That was very difficult for me initially to start with. Kannur has this small town syndrome. People, as Mahir said, they don't recognize you as an architect. They recognize you as an engineer. So I was an engineer for a long time. And then I became an architect later. What is this? A piece of paper. Just a piece of paper and a few lines. Why do you look at so much money? That is the first question most of the people would ask me. Maybe I wouldn't say I was very comfortable, but I was comfortable in the way that I handled money. I didn't feel the big urge to drive a Mercedes around, so I was content with having that Maruti 800. And I think I was quite happy with what I did initially. For nearly 10 years, I didn't have any staff at all. I used to do all the drawings. I used to run to all sites. I used to do the whole job. It was only later when I got a few big projects that I started employing people. But then yes, probably that first year that I spent with Tony and Prasanth, because we did a few projects then. I realized that it's a personal thing, that money probably is not important that in design. Tony gave me that, what Professor Eugene killed in me, that spirit of being an architect. Tony gave it back in whole loads. He was a person who actually made me sketch and do a lot of things. And I had a wonderful time with Prasanth doing those projects in common. So for me, I believe at that point, I didn't believe money was the sole reason why you should be in architecture. That is a very personal thing. I probably may regret that decision next year when my daughter is getting married. But well, it's a first person thing.
Same question was.
I also should start from the beginning of a practice.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What does money then and now, how it is expected from the say there and now?
Okay. So back then, as soon as I did my architecture, again, I was practicing in Talshin, which is a part of Kannur. I was having a big pressure from my family because their intention was that as soon as he finishes degree, they need to send me to Middle East. I can make a lot of money. That's the thing was there, which I really don't want to, because my internship was unfortunately very bad, which I felt that I really don't want to work with, work under someone. But at the same time, yes, I did, I think I might be one of the, person who actually did, I think 6 months of experience in the firm, and I just started off because I felt that I really don't want to do it, because I have my own, there is something kind of a belief that I can do something. Yes, I did start practicing, doing freelance and, I think almost 6 to 7 months in Talsheri, which I found that the way of how the clients look at you, that was something which actually hit my heart and soul, because like doing 5 years of architecture and so-called architecture status, and you representing in front of me, I'm an architect and I do that, I do this, I have creativity, I have talent, but within an instant, they actually judge us with money. Like, okay, this much I can give you, that's all. Which actually, it really hurted me instantly. For a fact, I would say that I think one of the projects which I personally felt that, one of my relative, that of course everybody will get project first from the relative. And we fixed the price and I did the design. And he just, after completing the design, he was not picking my call. And one fine day, he just dropped the money at my house and he went. which, and he just messaged, this is what you deserve or something, which I felt, is this what, a professional like us should get, which really hit me very badly. Then I asked so-called Praveen sir, see, I really want to move to Calicut. He said, that's a very good decision. Because, yes, back then I was actually Kannur Center member. Then he said, no, this is a good decision, you actually go. I came here. After coming here, I believe that beginning of any architect's journey, it's not about yourself. It's about the community you are around, which for me, I am still blessed, always blessed with people around me was all these people. For example, PP, for that matter, I think the first thing I went to was Prasanth's office, sir, how to do the agreements. He properly said me how to do it. I spoke to PP, like how do we charge and what is the... So there are a lot of people around us. And I feel that is very important for a person or for an architect practice to begin with. Like you have talent, you have everything, but you just can't become something, just because of yourself. So this is something which actually I have learned with gratitude. I'm still blessed and yes, talking about money. I don't know, I am against you, sorry. But this is one thing I have learned. As I mentioned you, that ego hurt, which was back then, I still take it. Because we wanted to be respected in the society. Now, for that, what is needed? Yes, you have talents. You have everything. Because you have done all these things at your college and you proved that you're a great designer. Now that time will come. So for that, for me, it was you do that hard work in the way that how to make money. Right? So, did so much of work, understood how to charge, oftenly discuss with seniors and mentors like you, and then make sure that, okay, this is the base fee. Don't compromise. Yes, of course, there are a couple of, to be frank, I'm telling you, I'm not telling that, yeah, I have charged everything very great, but there are projects that which I also want to balance in such a way that, yes, you have a profile. If somebody wanted, someday, you might get a good client. You need a portfolio. So you have to balance it. Then after a couple of years, like 5 to 6 years, you make money. Now that makes you confidence. You have money, you will have confidence. Now for me, it's my perspective because I am from a middle class background. I have no idea about the people who have a really good background, financially okay. But for me, that was my most important because I have a lot of responsibilities. I have my father and mother to look. I have my family. So for that, of course, you need money. Now, balancing it, it's pretty, tricky thing, but at the same time, it is also an art. It's not that as you do something as maths and just do the thing. As I mentioned that, yes, I was bad. I was very bad at mathematics. Now I am very good at mathematics. So, see, this is a kind of a shot. Thank you.
Yeah, but after internship with Prasanth sir, money was very important for me. Not because I did my internship with Prasanth sir. I myself made very much uncomfortable that I need money because I married after my 4th year. So I had to look after family. Yeah. So that made me settle down as early as possible. After my graduation, I joined Agriculture here, sir, because I need to earn something. Well, he was ready to pay me 12,000 something that day. And I started practicing with him. But with that money itself, I was not able to have this because I had to run to Kannur every day. Plus, my family is there, and my kid was born after. And my graduation after 6 months, my kid was born, and I had to look after them. So that money was not enough for me. So what I did is I went to teaching at times, and I started taking up projects all myself. Later, I started my practice with Art and Mahir. Then again, we came back to Art Western and we joined together. And Right now, I'm not talking as Adil Mahir. I'm talking on behalf of Attiks Architecture. Right now, I have 8 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, 4 plus, 2 plus, 3, 4 plus. Like that. It's like I have different companies like that. So, into architecture, into landscape, into TMC, into contract, into engineers, and also in Middle East. So, right now, what we did is, I don't know how many of you believe that we have a director for research development, we have a director for finance, we have a director for operations. So, we kept it like that. The system is like that. So, right now, I have a price tag. So, wherever any firm I go, they have to pay. If I'm going to Dubai for has to pay. It's like that. So, we made a system like that. So, and we have each directors of their own roles like that. So, that's why I told I'm representing a good team, your advisor. So, my practice is always collaborative and people from different expertise collaborative each first. So, and we have specified their roles specifically. So, we look after that role. So, the only thing is we have review meetings every frequently we have review meetings. So, we get the updates and we get the modifications. So, that's what we do now. It's cool.
So, my question, the money part. That money part, are you directly involved or are you just going to the financial director and they take care of it?
Basically, what we do is we make a budget plan, one year plan we make. So we set a target that this year we have to achieve this much. So in terms of projects and in terms of square feet, I mean, whatever we can do, right? We have to achieve this much amount. So to that, you can split in square feet or splitting projects like that. And we have planned it quarterly. Quarterly you have to achieve. First quarter you have to achieve 40% of that. And the second quarter you have to achieve 30% of that. So make that leaky.
So you have almost like a corporate governance.
Yeah, almost like, yeah.
Other than your marriage, I think it's all corporate. This is separate kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, my story, it began with an idea about how I should lead my pathway towards architecture. Basically, the idea of understanding what kind of language that I could treat in when I start practicing. I've been very fascinated with angles and its designs, and everywhere when I started doing my college projects, everyone look at me and say, like, if it's Naufan, there will be an angle. So I never did my lines going through straight that, okay, this is something which I should do. I'm always obsessed with plans, how things are going to look once after I render it. So eventually I started understanding the possibilities of and the kind of resources what we have in terms of Rhino, Grasshopper and stuff. So I was trying to utilize that factor, if possible, if I may get a chance to work with anyone like Zahadid and UN Studio and everybody. So what I did is while I was doing my internship, I sent, rather than looking at the Indian architecture people, I was too overboard sending all my portfolios to Zahadid, the UN Studio, Peter Zumthor and everyone, and just waiting for someone's call. And luckily I got a call from UN Studio. They've been asking whether you want to do an internship there. I can do it, but they're not going to pay me. And the practice was based at Amsterdam. So literally that idea was completely shut. I came down, I started sending my portfolios to Sanjay Puri, Studio Symbiosis and everyone. And one last day when I am done with the thesis, I got a call from the god of my practice, architect Mujib Bambai. So he called me in the evening asking me, I got your portfolio. So they have this interesting system of recruiting the interns in their practice. So how it happens is like when we send a portfolio, we'll get an automated mail saying that you need to design a furniture or a product that you can use somewhere like you have a cuboid space of area like 25 square feet or something, and you have to design some kind of product and send it to us. Then only you will get a call. Unless or until it's not really easy for me, it's not really easy to get a mail or something. If you send a portfolio directly, it's an obsession that if you really want to work with us, you need to do that job. even if the portfolio is not the right thing that they would look up to, it's that intention towards the practice that you really need to come forward. So I did the product. I did a bar chair, and they really liked it, and they just called me and said like, Naufan, I'm ready to hire you. He spoke to me, and until then I was under an impression that he is not a Malayali. So he called me and he said like, we are ready to hire you, but we are not going to pay you because we have only 3 interns who gets paid. We are going to be the 4th one. Again, looking back at it, I'm almost in a threshold that I have to pay my loans because I've been studying by education loans, and still my brother my brother is the one who kind of pushed me towards, okay, if you have any chance to work with someone that whom you like, go ahead, don't wait for it. So I went there. I started practicing. I started practicing as an intern, and 1 month after that, when I entered there, they were very much obsessed with competitions, and there was this competition. The first competition and the first project which I've been working on was in a project at Chicago. So I was so surprised, and I was so excited to work on a project like that in a place like Chicago, and it was just a competition of tiny homes. So once after we delivered the project, we were the interns who were working on the project, and once after we delivered it, after 1 month, there was a review meeting, and everyone cornered me saying that Naufan was the bad pitch in this whole project. Because I did so bad in that project. I had very difficulties in communication. I had very difficulties in understanding the design language of it. And obviously his sketches is so bad that you need to figure out what he is exactly trying to give you. So after 1 month again, he told me that if you want to jump out, if you want to go back to Kerala and work with someone else, you're good to go. It means we kind of giving an opportunity that if you want to change from here, you can do it. So badly, I just said like, oh, it's okay because I've already taken the turn. So it's rather that I just complete my internship over here itself. Then once after my internship was over, since I've been working on a couple of projects, my internship was over. Among those 4 people who did as interns, only I was the one who got offered as a job to continue as an architect once after I completed my internship. So in that way, I was quite happy. And eventually, when I started getting into that, he had this option to continue. He has this future towards me that he wanted to continue as an associate. He wanted me to continue as an associate, and in that manner, I started literally sitting with the clients to understand how to make an LOA. How did they pitch a client? How did they raise the budget and all the stuff? And then I was very lucky to get encountered with this collaboration what we had with architect Jürgen Mahir, who is the architect for Metropole Parasol, and we got shortlisted for a project in Manila. And the government gave us immediately 20 lakh rupees to work for a project for the 2nd stage. So I later got to know, like, even if you get 20 lakhs, Jürgen will only fly in a Lufthansa, this one, VIP pass or first class ticket to travel from Germany to Manila, that we had to take a flight of Air India Express to Philippines. So he was so adamant that I'm going to travel only in a first class thing. Eventually I figured out that's the privilege that you're going to get if you're a star architect. So that's something which kind of clicked. Like everywhere when you go, he was just constantly talking about Jürgen and the background and what we had. And eventually what happened is one client came to us to understand the office, and the same client went to Germany as well to understand his office, and he figured out the office is quite smaller than our office. Still he was claiming he wanted to travel in a first class flight. That's that's the manipulation that you do in the background.
So right now, on your own?
I'm on my own. So in 2.5 years of working, he still wanted me to continue there, but I just wanted to make some money for, of course, I just wanted to pay my loans and stuff. He's been kept on helping me out with the incentives and stuff to pay my EMIs. Came out from that, still being as a good family friend. He's been very close to my family, and came back, and I just decided to work in a practice which makes the real money. So I just wanted to understand the real talk. So since I've been working in Bombay, it's quite different because they've been very professional towards the work and talking to the people, talking to the vendors. It was quite tough to understand the project, but I just wanted to understand the native language as well, to how to, kind of speak to the contractors and workers around me. So I just started working with an engineer here to understand the practice, like how do they handle numerous number of projects at one go. They have this timeline of 1 week. So I was so shocked that we took around 30 days to finish a residence, but here it was just 1 week to finish off the whole project with the detail. So the time itself, sorry, should I continue? No. Yeah. So the time itself kind of taught me like time is money, literally. So if you're spending more money, if you're spending more time on a project, if you're spending with an advance of about 20% of the project and you're spending over 2 weeks, is something which is going to take you into a complete loss.
So you started practicing, and is the practice actually giving you money now?
Of course, to be very honest. Yeah,
You're doing.
yeah.
Just before I submitted my thesis, I submitted my thesis the second time. JT Jose Thomas was from our college, so he was very good at sketches and so I had a short stint with Jose Thomas. Then I joined Prasanth's office. At that time, we had very good talent in that office. Actually, Stapati had a combined office with us. Stapati had Roy, Sri Kumar, and all those stuff. And in Prasanth's office, we had Punnos, Stanley, and actually Mujib was there working with them. He was very difficult to deal. So at that time, we had a very good, I'm not saying it because you are in front. We had a very good, because you and Tony had the passion to start something. You were actually marking up the road. At that time, nobody knew about architecture and it was frustrating for you. You were tearing up sheets and contractors were doing this stuff. So those years were very good. Then I went to Dubai. Actually, I had 17 years working there, some of the largest firms. So there I learned process and stuff. But still, I wanted to come back and do my own small stuff. So I come here and I don't have a large office. I just work like that. And I have one staff. So I don't make much money here. But I charge well. But sometimes recently, last 5 years, getting the right fee is very difficult. Maybe because the number of architects is more, so people can go to anyone. So I don't make much money because of that. I live on the money that I made from my overseas job. So I do it for my passion, and that's it.
So I think that 3 bills are talking about shutting up. So this is the first session, like, how people take decision. In each has different kind of practice. And the younger generation, I think you got a plethora of vehicles from corporate situation, which he is not into. He is talking about the international exposure. He is talking about doing something based on passion. This guy is just like that. He is surviving comfortably here, not a problem. Praveen, I think again, is found this kind of like that. Now there was one more question which need to be very important. What is the strict idea of ethics as you study in theory college, and what is the ethics which we all follow from case to case situation? But the bottom line is basically we are here to service the client. Even though I would say we are moving slightly far from understanding the individual client. Even the client is also moving out, and the entire profession is slowly moving into showcasing rather than a sense of place for them to realize themselves. So I think we are moving more into a commodity kind of a situation rather than a very genuine search of quest of spaces where you can realize who you are. The fundamental question of who you are and how you can be contented with yourself without much societal pressure. But take the ongoing challenges, but be at peace with yourself. I think that will be the genuine quest of every architect, to help the client or to discover a space where he can realize who he is and he can have a comfortable zone. So that being the thing, the relative ethics is something which everyone had to figure out from their personality, from their understanding of life. So this is just, I think, the topic really need to go to a second phase, but since, as everything says, since quantum of time, I thank everyone for being very honest. I think all these people talk from bottom of their heart, and you can have an individual conversation with them, maybe to take, if you find a semblance with them, to understand more about their practice. So, thank you. Good night. Hayden.